So what about all the things that mess with our perception? For example, we've talked about psychedelics before, talked about in dreams where you be detached from this. There's certain things that happen to your brain to where you're not able to perceive.
So you're not perceiving reality. That's right. So your brain is creating a different reality. It's not real.
How do you know it's not real? How do you know the elves we meet in the?
Because I need to take a drug in order. Because I need to take a drug in order to do it. Because I'm asleep when I'm dreaming. It's not reality. That is clearly a creation of our mind. It's not a creation.
Hold on. Let's
get the
psychedelics.
The drug is real.
Okay.
If you are, I'm not. I think you're going to be thinking I'm joking a lot more than I am this episode. Okay. I'm going to be the humorist objectivist. He could be the court jester. In terms of psychedelic, when people are perceiving these elves, these machine elves, these other entities, whether they could either be real or not, I don't know. But the point is that doesn't go to his broader point, because if these beings exist and the only way to perceive them is to take a drug, they still exist. This is just, for example, if I'm walking outside in the woods at night, right, and there's a deer and I can't see it, but if I put on night vision goggles, I can see it. That deer was there the entire time. It's not that the night vision goggles caused the deer to appear.
You can recreate it not only using night vision goggles, but you can then use sonar. You can use other mechanisms by which to prove that the deer is there. The thing with psychedelics is that, now I don't know, because maybe I'm the least experienced with psychedelics here, probably. My guess is every time you take the psychedelic, you have exactly the same experience of the deer? No. Second, are there other mechanisms, other scientific mechanisms by which I can find the deer out there? Other than the psychedelics?
We don't know yet. So, we don't know yet.
Well, but this is Occam's razor, right? The simplest explanation here is the most likely, and that is that you've taken something that's messing with the chemicals in the brain. Something is that your brain can project. We dream. Nobody's arguing that the dream is real and reality's not, or if they are, I think they're nuts. The dream is a dream. Your brain is creating an image of telling you a story. Psychedelics are simulating the same thing. That's probably what's going on until there's evidence to the contrary.
Well, hold on. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, because let's take Adderall, for example. No one here disagrees that that's something much more simpler and less, out of this world. I think what he might be speaking to, I know Joe Rogan talks about this and other people in this space, is that when you take certain drugs, it changes your perception. It doesn't have to be otherworldly. It changes your perception of what's around you. And as an example, what they talk about is the three of us are talking. There's lots of other stuff in the room. We're only aware of it vaguely on a peripheral level.
So it changes the...
Hold on, let me finish.
No, I don't do that.
Well, yeah, you're about to start.
This is back to the desert island murder.
We just resolved it within 3 seconds. There's no honk.
He's trying to get us.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I'm trying to create murder.
No one has asthma. It's going to be fine.
Because if the two of you murder each other, there's more food for me.
There's no.
Just
what
saying.
Ratings would go up.
Alcohol.
Ratings would go up. Viewership would go up.
Yeah, it's good for the ratings. Yeah.
But if you take, for example, Adderall or speed, right? People you focus on things, you perceive things that aren't there, but that doesn't mean those things weren't there to begin with. There are absolutely ways to change human perception chemically, through glasses, through getting drunk. None of that changes the fact that the reality underneath it is real and is causing this effect.
Absolutely, and it has a particular nature, right? And all it's doing is changing the focus, right? So if I take off my glasses, I'm seeing the same thing. I'm just seeing something's out of focus, and maybe in the distance I can't see something. It's just gone, and then I put it on. There it is. That thing was always there. It's just the sensitivity I have to it has changed, and it's absolutely, we're not sensitive to everything equally. And drugs can change the relative sensitivities. It doesn't change reality. It changes our ability to focus on reality.
Let me give you one simple example. The microscope. I forget who it was. His name was with an L, the scientist who discovered it. He had a drop of water, and he's seeing monsters, the protozoa, in this drop of water. For him, it must have been, it is like a drug experience. Like, wait a minute, I'm drinking this, and there's alien beings whose shapes are completely crazy in this water. Those beings were always there. Those beings were there before any of us were here. They've been there for billions of years. But because he had this apparatus, now he's able to see protozoa. No one's arguing protozoa are extra dimensional. No one's arguing the supernatural. Amoebas are well studied, paramecia, all the other lots. So if these elves, the machine elves, are real, and the only way to perceive them is through DMT or something like that, that doesn't contradict the broader point that they've always been there, and this is the mechanism for perceiving them.
So here's the word I was looking for. It's a word actually Greg taught me this. So Greg Salmieri. So it's resolution, right?
Yeah.
So it's resolution. My resolution changes with the glasses. My resolution gets finer with the microscope. So there's probably some bacteria here on the table.
100%.
Right? There's no doubt about it. I can't see them. So I need a microscope to see them. But they're either there or they're not there. And I have the tools to discover whether they are there or they're not there. And that's called a microscope. Now, there could be even smaller beings that even with a microscope, I won't be able to define. But that's completely arbitrary to claim that they're there until I find a tool to be able to discover it. The same with what you see if you're seeing other beings when you're taking psychedelics. Unless you find another tool to be able to see them with, the simplest assumption is probably the truest assumption.
But even the not simplest assumption doesn't contradict the broader point.
No.
Which is, again,
reality is what it is.
Yeah,
if it turns out that there are these creatures that you can only see with psychedelics, then there are these creatures that you can only see with psychedelics. And our resolution while we're not on psychedelics is not fine enough to observe them. So what? That doesn't change the fact that we evolved to survive in reality as it is.
What do you do with the possibility that our resolution, as it currently stands, is really, really crappy? That basically,
well, it's not.
No, but you don't know that.
No, we know it. We know it completely.
Compared to who?
Compared to the future possibilities like artificial intelligence.
It is true. It is crappy compared to the future.
Fine,
that's true.
But that's not relevant.
But much like orders of magnitude.
No, but
crappier.
here I'll use the standard that Hoffman uses, evolution, right? The reason I know that our resolution is phenomenal, is phenomenally good, right? Is look at us. We're sitting here comfortably in an apartment with air conditioning and in warm Austin with microphones and where did all this stuff? We're really good at survival and changing our environment. Indeed, if you look at the species that we know of, there's not a species that come anywhere close to our ability to deal with reality, to observe to reality, to understand reality, and to shape it. Now, in the future, well, we'll come up with machines that can figure out stuff that we have no clue about today.
Yeah, but so
that's only because we're so well suited to reality that can we create those machines.
And I promise you, it's in the future, it's going to be much more what you're saying. That's how it's going to happen.
No, but the thing is, when the creatures from the future look back to the things we're saying now, what Ayn Rand is saying, what you're saying with certainty, do you think they'll laugh at the level of how much confusion there was, how much inaccuracy?
Did you? No.
No.
Let me get this one. You know what they're going to do?
Yes.
They're going to do what you do when any of us read Aristotle or read any of these great geniuses of the past. It's like these people didn't have electricity. They didn't have like warm clothes or anything, and they're able to figure out the diameter of the Earth. Like the creativity to be and to get it within like a few miles, the creativity and to figure out the speed of light when you don't even have a stopwatch. When you look back, like a lot of it's nonsense, and we at the same. It's like when you're talking to a kid, you disregard the nonsense, and when they get something right, it's so it's never a numbers game, right? So it's the few that validate and justify the rest. So when you look at Aristotle, he's talking about there was one of those causes, which is like time travel, and it doesn't really make sense. But you look at the rest of his stuff, or even Plato or any of these greats, it's like, oh my, this is an amazing miracle. And I wouldn't say literally miracle. I got you, everyone. But at the same time, a lot of these other people had stupid ideas. You don't care. You care about those great minds and how they moved us all forward. To this day, we still study Pythagoras.